Hello, I am Brandon, and I want to welcome you to the Tansson Talk Show, where our mission here is to help bring people together. This is a mission that I'm very passionate about, and I'm always so proud to host the show. Joining us this week from his home in Argentina, I'm so excited to welcome Teo. I'm so delighted to have you on.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you so much for inviting me to your podcast. I'm very, very happy to be here. So I hope it's going to be a great talk.
Yeah, I'm so excited, to speak with you as well. And so, first of all, how are you doing today?
I'm doing quite good. Actually, it was a very tough week at work. Thankfully, we're recording this on a Friday and the week is over. But yeah, I'm kind of relieved that everything worked out as it should have. So that would be the best word to describe it, relieved.
Well, that's so great that, like I said, that it all worked out, and at the very least, at the end of the week, you have time to hopefully relax this weekend.
I sure hope so. I have my pottery class on Saturdays, and that helps me like round a little bit. So I'm looking forward to it tomorrow.
Well, I hope that you do enjoy it, and if you're able to take a moment to go ahead and introduce yourself for the watching and listening audience here today.
Sure. Well, my name is Teo Ignacio Landoni. I'm a junior this year at Universidad Argentina de la Empresa in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I am 20 years old, and I also have the privilege to serve as the 2023-2024 Vice President of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging at PRSSA National. Um, and yeah, part of my like everyday work is overseeing all the diversity initiatives that we have on all our chapters. I also manage all global affairs and international relationships that PRSSA has. And I also lead the Proud Council, which is a subcommittee of 5 students that help me bring new perspectives to the table. Um, and yeah, I am a cat person. That's also important. My cat is around here, so if you see me turning around, is I'm checking he's not eating my wire for my computer. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything about me.
Well, I definitely love that, and like I said, and I'm just so glad to have you here. And yeah, and if your cats are, I definitely hope that he takes a little bit of time before eating the wire.
Yeah, I hope so. He's around here, so perhaps sometimes he jumps to the table and he'll make an appearance. But yeah, the important thing is my plug.
Well, yeah. Well, like I said, definitely. To get started, I did want to ask. So, so right now, of course, you are, the vice president of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So, I did want to ask. So how has your term been for you thus far?
So I think it was a very good term overall. Of course, we had a lot of challenges in the beginning, mainly because this position was vacant last term. So 22 to 23, no one held this position, and it was difficult for me to get everything I needed to know before my term started. But thankfully, I got a lot of support by like from all the VPs, the national president, of course, and the previous national committee, as well as people from headquarters. So once everything was kind of arranged, I believe we made a good start. We brought the Proud Council back, and it was a great term to kind of lay the groundwork for the following years, and that is my goal for my term. So I think we're getting to it, and we still have some months to go.
Well, I'm definitely very excited, like I said, to see what you're going to continue to do with it. And so, first of all, I'm glad that that you were even able to get the position and finally have the position filled since it was vacant last year.
Yeah, it was actually Milagros. She has been in the podcast, I believe, and she is the vice president of events and fundraising. She also attends my college, so she was the one who suggested me to apply for a national committee. And yeah, we had the elections during the leadership assembly, and then once I got the position, yeah, it was very exciting because I got to do something that I'm passionate about, but it also comes with a lot of responsibilities, duties, and kind of nervousness on how to manage everything. Um, but yeah, I think thanks to my team, we're doing a great work.
Well, I'm glad that you do have a supportive team behind you. And yes, she has been on my podcast back in I believe March of 2023, and she's definitely probably arguably my biggest fan of the show.
Yeah, she definitely is. She's very, very passionate about PRSSA. And yeah, she inspires me on a daily basis. So thankfully, we were able to develop a friendship, moreover, during this year's at PRSSA. So it's great to have her around, and she's very, very inspiring and also supportive in everything we want to do. So that's something that I really like about her.
I love that, and yes, she definitely very much is. And so going back a little bit, so what really interests you in public relations?
Well, that's a thing that I'm currently working on. As you know, I'm starting my junior year, so I have two more like periods to go, and I like a lot of things. That's the problem, and that's also a blessing because thankfully I will be able to kind of delve into any area of public relations that I like. Uh, I think I'll be focusing more on crisis communications. Um, it is one of the areas that I like the most about our profession. But I also like government and politics, so I think it's going to be around that area.
That definitely makes perfect sense, and I definitely know that there is some overlap in there too.
Yeah, there is. Basically, working in government, it's constant crisis management, and that is something that kind of falls within the scope of both areas. So I think it'll maybe a combination of those. So yeah, public affairs is also in that kind of scope and area. So something more related to that. I don't really like working for corporations. I would like to work for government or maybe an agency or start my own, but I don't really like the corporate communication. So I think it will be more on the public side.
Yeah, that definitely makes perfect sense. And yeah, I know like even for myself, like I love being able to like give back to the community and and the people around me. And so even though I would say I'm probably more media focused than I am public relations side, is that even still I like being within the local community. So whatever I can do to serve the local community, that's where I fall.
Yeah, that's perfect. I believe it's also something that happens to most communication students and professionals that um, when you're studying and kind of deciding what to do with your professional life, you believe it's a very big world, but it really isn't. I mean, communications is very, very like a niche. So you have to know anyone to get to whatever you want to be. Thanks. I mean, PRSSA thankfully helps us with that. Um, but yeah, it's difficult to kind of grow, but also give back to your community uh, in the same amount, right? Because thanks to our communities, we are who we are. So we cannot forget that when once we are professionals and we become well known. Uh, so yeah, it's something. It's difficult to manage all that balance that we have to do.
Yeah, it really is, and like I said, so it's really interesting. Like I said, that you're interested in, like I said, the governmental side and crisis communication, and then even a bit of public affairs. And so, out of curiosity, like I guess what led you to choose those ones as your favorites and standouts for public relations?
Well, I think that it all comes down to making a change in different like aspects, right? When you work on crisis communications, you're trying to make a change in how a situation is handled and try to avoid the crisis for your client. So in that way, is mainly trying to change and persuade and kind of manage the public opinion and what other people think of your client. So it's making a change on people's mindsets. Public affairs is kind of on the same um, area. And then government is trying to make a change for people's lives and people's realities. So I think that being a change maker is something that kind of describes our profession because you're always changing someone with how you communicate. So um, those two areas are the ones that I believe the most changes can be made to make people's lives better in the case of government and public, like the public side of government, the political communications, but also to make your clients' lives easier if you work on crisis communication. So I think it's that kind of working in the area of managing how people feel about something that is happening.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And out of curiosity, like I said, I really like what you were saying about managing how people feel and working to make a change. And so, have you always been a like advocate for making change, or how long has it, I guess, been a part of your personal journey?
I think so. Yes. So um, it is very personal to me because uh, I found out about my sexuality. I identified as a gay man during my early teenage years. Um, and thankfully, Argentina is a very advanced country when it comes to LGBTQ community rights and the acceptance on a social level. But there's always some more change to do, right? So in that way, I always struggle with finding the way of making a change without exposing my life that much and without being at risk. Um, so when I started studying public relations and um, I moved to the capital city of Argentina, um, basically I started seeing and kind of realizing how I would be able to help. And one of my colleagues at college suggested me to attend a meeting that was held by a political party that I was always affiliated to. So I attended. I met a lot of very important people in that party. And after a few weeks, I was working with them on their communications team. So basically, I was able to find my area in which I can make change for the LGBTQ community in my side, and I was able to work with a very, very um, talented team on developing diversity strategy for this political party, and it is very important because it's kind of um, it's a party that is seen as not tolerant to the LGBTQ community, or that it's kind of spreading hate on that community when it's totally the opposite. But once people get that in their minds, it's difficult to take it out. And I believe we are doing like a very like little job a day at a time, but we're starting to change that perspective. And I think that's the first opportunity I got to be a change maker on a bigger scale. Um, but yeah, there's still a lot more to come. And sorry, that's my cat around.
Oh, good. But yeah, I mean that's really great though that you've been able to work to make that change, and I mean and to make sure that others are accepted as well.
Yeah, sorry, would you repeat that question? My cat is here.
Oh yeah, yeah. I said that that's so great that that you've been working to make a change and make sure that others are accepted as well.
Yeah, I think that is, I don't know, it's basically what we have to do, you know. I believe that we have to take advantage that as communication professionals, we are on the position that we can make that happen, and we're also responsible of making it happen. So it's not only that we have the possibility, we also have the obligation of doing that. We have to advocate for everyone to be heard, for all the voices to be brought to a table and bring up the discussion on a lot of topics. So I think uh, it's also one of the things that drove me to study PR and not other professions. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean that makes perfect sense. And so you mentioned too that when you started, when you started with your studies that you moved to the capital, and so overall, like, did you know, I guess, what overall you wanted to study when it was time for you to go to university, and then and where you wanted to go to do it?
So it's kind of strange. When I was a little kid, like I would say 11 or 12 years old, I always wanted to study at the university I'm studying now. But it was because, I don't know, as a kid it seemed cool because everyone who attends is very great and most of them have successful careers. So it's kind of where everyone wants to go, right? Um, but then when I grew up, um, I decided that I wanted to be a doctor. So I went through med school for 1 year. And then once I finished that, I said like, why am I doing this? Why am I studying medicine if this is not what I want to do, right? It was not imposed by anyone, but I just think that someone in my mind, I thought being a doctor was a choice. So I said, okay, let's do it. And then I had a very big like crisis with my profession, and I quit med school after 1 year. And then I said, okay, what drives me to medicine and to other uh, courses that I was considering? And basically, everything came down to the connection with other people. So then I said, okay, I have to study something that relates to that. So I started like searching for options. First, I studied, of course, like sociology, anthropology, psychology, a lot of things that were so, more social but still related to medicine. And then I started to look for like other options, and I found communications, marketing, and then I found power relations. And I said, okay, yeah, that's my thing. And then we started investigating where to study PR in Argentina. There are not that amount of colleges that offer this course of studies. I believe like 10 or 12 in the whole country. Compared to the US, is a smaller country, have 47 million people living in our country. So 12 universities is still a good number. But the one I'm studying now is the best one. It's the first one that got a PR program back in 1964, I want to say. Yeah, I think it's 1964. So it was a long time ago. It was the first university to bring this program with professionals from the US, and it's the only university that is certified by PRSSA in Argentina. And also, the PRSSA chapter that we have here in Universidad Argentina de la Empresa was the first one outside of the US. Um, so basically, uh, when I started studying here, I was talking about it with my grandma. She said, "Oh, you always wanted to study there," and I was like, "Did I? Did I really want to study here?" And we started looking through like old videos from the family and um, like cards we used to do at our birthdays or Christmas or whatever with what we wanted to be when we grew up. And it was true. And I think it kind of reconnected me back to my childhood dream. So I can say that I wanted it. Then it was like I forgot about it totally. When I started, uh, I think everything came back.
That makes perfect sense, though. And yeah, I mean, I feel like life works like that sometimes. Sometimes we come up with a plan, and then we pivot a little bit, and then we go back to our original plan, with slightly a different take than what we originally wanted to do. But I mean, I feel like it all kind of works out.
Yeah, it totally does. I mean, it's difficult to kind of stop. Some Something that always comes up to my mind is you finish high school, right? You are like 17, 18, and you have to decide something that is going to basically drive the whole rest of your life. And it's a very difficult choice to make. Kind of focus on something. Education is expensive, so you also don't want to make a wrong choice. And you start thinking a lot of things, and it's difficult to kind of stop and say, okay, let's see the bigger picture. Let's consider everything. And I think that's what happened when I quit med school and I said, okay, this is not what I want to do. I took like 3 months away from everyone and from everything and just thinking of what I wanted to do. Uh, and then I got this decision of PR, and thankfully I'm still on it. And I plan to finish this one. So yeah, I think, as you said, when we pivot our plans and everything falls back into place with something is being changed. But yeah, in the end, we always come to the same plan that we thought of.
Yeah, it's always funny how life works like that. And yeah, though, but overall, have you been enjoying, your time at your university? Yeah, now that you're in a not med school program.
Yeah, I really did. Basically, when I was in med school, it was like I always liked biology and chemistry as a kid. So I was like, okay, this is easy for me. But then I started to have like biophysics and things that I said, no, this is not my thing. And then my first semester at a PR was, well, obviously an introduction to PR. We had written communication, we had oral communication, and I said, okay, yeah, this is my thing. I really enjoyed all the classes I had so far. Of course, some more than others, um, but it's a program that relates more to me and what I like to do on a daily basis. Uh, so yeah, I think I'm really enjoying this experience, and I'm trying to take the most out of it.
Well, that's great though that you're working to get the most out of it. And how long was it into your college experience that you found PRSSA?
1 week. It was literally I was in my second class of yeah, it was introduction to PR. It was a Tuesday at 2 p.m. and we were there hanging around with our professors before the class started. And two ladies came in and said, "Hey, can we interrupt you for a second? We want to share something with the students." And the professor said, "Yes, of course, come in." My interaction to PR professor is the faculty advisor for PRSSA in our chapter. So, well, this was the chapter president and the chapter vice president at the time, and they said, well, there is this thing called PRSSA that help us connect with more students that study PR and other related programs. And um, if you want to give it a shot, just let us know. We're going to have this meeting. It was like 2 weeks after that. And yeah, they had like a QR code and their emails. So I was like, okay, I'll see what this is all about. Uh, and well, I attended that meeting, and it was really, really nice. We had the opportunity to have Andrew Cook from PRSA as well that day in that meeting. He was in Argentina and he stopped by at that meeting, and he explained like all the benefits, how everything works, how it is for him as a professional to have this relationship with PRSA and with other colleagues. And he was like, okay, yeah, that seems cool. Um, so I enrolled and I never stopped.
I love that, and I'm so glad that you were able to, I mean, to join and help continue your work to make an impact. And so, and yeah, and that's really cool though that that it sort of worked out like that, and they happened to, yeah, I mean, to be there at the exact time.
Yeah. When I reflect on my PRSSA journey, I always say like, if someone read this on a book, they wouldn't believe how everything happened, right? Because everything seems like very coincidental in a lot of points of the story. But it was just like that. Yeah, we had him at that first event, and when he explained everything with such passion, it was like, yeah, everyone in that room wanted to join, and it was like, okay, let's do it, let's give it a shot. uh, and then as a yeah, I was a freshman, and we have an international communications challenge for international chapters in PRSSA. And I said, okay, let's do this. I mean, I really had like 5 or 6 classes on PR, but I wanted to participate, so I enrolled. I made a team. We made an idea. We prepared everything. We went to like an internal competition, and there was this other team with students that were juniors and seniors, and I was like, okay, I don't know if we're gonna make this. And we won. We won, and we were able to represent our college with, I mean, against the other colleges and their chapters, and uh, it was a very enlightening experience. I was able to meet more people on a national level on PRSA and PRSSA. We won the second place, and we celebrated everything. And at that time, when we got the results, we were starting to prepare for our 2023 district conference. So that's when I met Milagros more, like in depth. And she said, "Hey, this is a district conference. I kind of have to manage all these things. So if you want to participate, just let the chapter president know." And we opened all the positions for the conference committee, and I was selected to be the conference coordinator. So I started my sophomore year being the conference coordinator for our district conference, and due to the pandemic, we didn't have a previous experience from the previous year, right? So we had to basically create everything back from scratch, and we were able to develop with a team of like 12 people a very nice conference with over 500 people attending, um, and it was like very satisfactory for me to say like, I mean, even sometimes I don't believe everything that happened, right? Uh, and we had our conference in March, like, yeah, by the end of March, and I started applying for national committee, thanks to Milagros' encouragement. And uh, I come from like a middle class working family, and it was very difficult for me to attend an event in the US. I mean, I never traveled outside of my country. I only traveled like once to a country that is literally next to Argentina for a wedding, and then I came back home, and it was just 3 days, and I was like 9 years old. So I had to like cover a lot of things in order to make it to leadership assembly, and I really didn't have uh, the money or the resources to cover everything at the time. So Milagro started connecting me with people from headquarters. We had meetings with like the current national committee, and they explained like everything, how it worked. Um, and I was able to get a scholarship thanks to uh, Gina from Delta, and I attended leadership assembly. I ran, and I got the position, and I don't know. It's till this day. Sometimes I don't even believe it. Right now, I'm going to be in the leadership assembly in a few weeks, uh, and it's like a lot happened in only 2 years of college, right? So, um, yeah, it's very. I don't know. It feels like sometimes I'm living someone else's life, right? But when I realize it's mine, it's very pleasant, and I'm also thankful to everyone who helped me get to where I am today.
I love that, and I'm so glad that that you all were able to work it out so that way you could attend.
Yes, yeah, it was very, very hard, and I also didn't have. I started to remember things. I didn't even have my passport or my visa to go to the U.S., so I had to do everything like in a month, and I had to reach out to some people in the embassy, to people like from the government to help me. I mean, how to figure out how to do everything. And well, I had to apply for the visa, and it was like uh, there were appointments for November, and I needed it before April. So I every day, like every 1 hour, I was getting to that website trying to get an appointment. And I remember that Janine asked me for a confirmation date. Like I don't remember now, but it was like 2 weeks before the conference. I needed to have everything because if not, they were going to cover someone else or kind of rearrange the scholarships. Um, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna make it. It doesn't rely on me. I cannot manage how the embassy works. Uh, and literally the night before I was going to send that email, I had a reminder in my phone that said like enter the website. So I entered the website one last time, and without any hopes. And there was this one appointment for the following day, and it was like, okay, it's meant to be. I have to go. Um, and then I had my interview at the assembly at the embassy a Wednesday, and I was flying out the following Wednesday. So they had only 1 week to process my visa and my passport and everything. And I was sure I was not gonna make it. It takes like 10 days. And that Monday before the assembly, they called and they say your passport is ready. And Yeah, it was amazing. That's why I say some people will not believe this story, but everything is true. They Milagros called me and said, "Hey, we got you a scholarship." I was at a friend's house, and we all started like celebrating and screaming and saying, "Okay, how do we do all this?" Because we didn't have a lot of time to plan. Um, but yeah, it's been hell of a time in PRSSA, and I want to continue serving our society as long as I can.
I absolutely love that, and I'm so glad everything like worked out like that. And I mean that's truly meant to happen right there.
It is. It is. Sometimes it's like, I know it's difficult when you reflect on it and say like, I don't really know how everything happened. Everything aligned. Uh, but yeah, I also found like a purpose in PRSSA. Right. I was in the middle of my professional crisis, trying to see what to do. A lot of things going on at home with my family. So I was like, with a lot of things in my mind. And when PRSSA came into my life, it was like, okay, I have this thing called PRSSA that I can focus on, that I can develop my career. And I started meeting a lot of incredible people that I still consider as colleagues and I admire. And I work with them. And it was an amazing experience for me as a student, but and also as a person.
I'm so glad. I mean, like I said, that it worked out like that, and that you were able to find a community for yourself, especially like within 1 week of college.
Yeah, it is. It's actually unbelievable. I didn't have like very big groups of friends from high school or whatever. I mean, I believe that as of now, I speak with one or two people from my high school. So I was very like scared of meeting a whole new group of people that I didn't know anyone, and I didn't know what to do, how to make friends basically. But PRSA has that, and uh, that sense of community. It's very very welcoming, and it's what keeps me motivated on a daily basis. We have like this small phrase that we say like, join for the benefits, stay for the community, because of course when you join you don't know how the chapter works, how the national level works, and you just join because it has a lot of cool benefits for students. But once you meet people that understand your lifestyle, that have the same passions and values that you have, you really stay for that. It doesn't even matter if you attend the webinars or the conferences or whatever. You just want to keep this group of people that really connect and empathize with your life.
I'm so glad, like I said, I mean, that truly it that you were able to, like I said, not just find a group, but find a true community, and and people that you can trust, and that you all can hopefully grow together in your in both your academics and personal lives as well.
Yeah, yeah, it totally is. I'm very glad to call everyone at PRSSA friends, some of them even family, and it is great. Is it an experience that I cannot recommend highly enough.
And when you first joined, did you ever imagine that one that you'd ever serve on the national committee, but that you would even get to travel outside of your country to even attend some of the the meetings and conferences?
No, everything seemed like so far away, like literally geographically away, but also like the opportunities. When you say like it's not for me, like I could never do this, I could never get to that position, because I mean I'm aware that I have capacities and skills and knowledge, but there's always this like imposter syndrome we all deal with, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if this is meant to be for me, um, and sometimes I have to like stop and really think of, okay, I'm living a dream that I had for a long time and that I thought I would not be able to live for a lot more years, right? Traveling around uh, outside of my country, going holidays with friends, having a position at such a prestigious organization. Those are things that were like on my bucket list for my mid 30s, and I'm living everything on my early 20s, and it is, yeah, it's unbelievable, and it's very very nice to have all these opportunities.
I mean, that truly is just so remarkable. And I meant to ask too. So for your university that you attend, how far is that? Like, how far are you now from where you lived prior to starting university?
Yeah, so I'm like 1.5 hours away from my family. Uh, it's not that much, but since I don't drive, I don't really see my family that much. I try to visit twice a month, or if I get the chance to go on the weekends, I do visit them. But yeah, I'm like an hour and a half away from home. It's not that much.
Well, at least it's not. I mean, extremely far away, but at the same time, it is a bit of a distance. But at least once or twice a month is at least less. I mean, still a lot better than if it was even further away.
Yeah, it's like strange because you see, okay, if my family lived like in another state, it was like, okay, I cannot really see them, or I mean, you feel the distance, but you get used to it because you're far away, and there's nothing much you can do but traveling for the holidays. But since they are 1 hour and a half away, it's like that feeling of, okay, I could visit more, I could see them more often, I could go around and just, I don't know, meet my people from high school or whatever. It's around all the time because you say, okay, it's not that far away, right? But it's still in the middle of our routine. On a daily basis, it's difficult to kind of merge everything into the schedule. I work for a company full time, and I study, and well, I have PRSSA, so it's like difficult to make time for people that you love, and uh, that's not a good feeling to manage. But yeah, having them nearby, it's kind of relaxing in a way that if anything happens, I am thankfully 1 hour and a half away. But if I cannot go and I miss something important, it's like I was just an hour and a half away.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And even though, like I said, I don't have per se personal experience with that, well, actually, I do in the sense that, so for me, like I do all of my stuff for my university online, but my university is about supposedly 40 minutes to an hour away, hypothetically, but we also have heavy traffic that might make it significantly longer. And so I can't always make campus events, but it's one of the things where it's just like I theoretically am close, but at the same time, it's like I still can't really, attend everything as much as I would, really want to. And so it's one of the things where it's just like unfortunate, but at the same time, it's like we do the best that we can.
Yeah, yeah, it's that feeling. You're near, but you're far, so you should be able to attend, but you're not. So it's kind of that bittersweet feeling all the time.
Yeah, and I mean, but overall, I mean, outside of just PRSSA too, have you also been able to, I mean, to meet other people from your university or otherwise?
Yeah, I do meet people because thankfully, at my university, you can enroll to any class. So we have people from, I don't know, graphic design or media management that come study with us some courses. So I'm able to meet people that have different majors, and that is very good for us as professionals to kind of build our network. And also, we have a lot of students from communications that are not enrolled to PRSSA, and I also hang out with them. So yeah, I can say, I don't know, I would say 200 or 250 people I know from college. Uh, and of course, I don't have daily conversations with everyone, but if we like go by and meet with each other. We know each other's names, what we do, and that is great about having a lot of people around in your classes.
Wow, well, definitely, 250 people. That definitely is, quite a bit. But at the same time, though, yeah, even though you, like I said, that you might not have daily conversations with every single person, that'd be a lot of people to have a conversation with. That at the same time, though, I know what you mean. Like, even for my podcast and everything, I've now, like with you, you're the 133rd person I've had on overall. And so it's one of the things that's just like I do my best, of course, yeah, stay connected and everything. But obviously, some people I hear from a lot more than others. It'd be a lot to speak with every person, every week. But it's like every once in a while, like being able to check in and see how you're doing. And so, I mean, I completely understand that.
Yeah, it is just like that. I mean, uh, we know a lot of people. We're close to a handful amount of them. But if something comes up and someone needs a helping hand, or if I see something that might be interesting for someone I know, I just say, like, hey, I saw this. This reminds me of you, and I just send it over, and they do the same with me. So um, it's good to have this ability to know a lot of people and kind of rely on the fact that you don't need to talk to everyone on a daily basis, and you don't need to be all the time there for you to be friends with other people. But we know we can count on each other when the time comes, and that's the important thing.
Yeah, that's absolutely important. And I did want to circle back a little bit too. So I do know that, that you've attended of course, the leadership assembly, when you got your position, of course, and then I know you're about to attend another one. And were you able to go to any of the other conferences, such as Icon?
Yeah, I was at Icon last year. It's part of our duties as the national committee to attend the national events. So I was at Icon. Um, it's I don't know if you have been there, but if you have, it's an experience that you cannot describe to other people. Because if you say it's a conference of communications, I mean it is, but it's not simple that uh, you meet a lot of incredible people that we wouldn't be able to meet otherwise. You travel around, make friends, you have your roommates, you go around the city and explore. Thankfully, I'm very close to the national committee. We all get along very well. So we had some dinners together. I made some friends from other chapters, and we went around the city. And well, Nashville was great. I remember one day we went around like the city center, and we were in downtown Nashville, and there was this guy in the street with like a snake around him, like Britney on that performance, and it was literally that snake, and I was very scared. I mean, I'm not afraid of snakes, but it was weird to meet someone with a snake in public. I know here in Argentina those things do not happen, but I think that in these conferences we create a lot of memories that forge us as persons and as individuals and also as professionals. But um, all this thing of traveling for a conference, being a student, I think it doesn't happen in many organizations. It's not something that everyone is able to do, but it definitely gives you a lot of insights and tools for how the business world works. And that is something that I really value of these conferences that we have uh, every year, right? We have leadership assembly and we have Icon, and of course, and the district conferences that all the chapters are able to host. But yeah, these two big, massive national events are one of the great things out of PRSSA.
I love that. And yeah, while I wasn't able to attend Icon 2023, I attended the 2022 one in Texas. And so,
Texas.
yeah, and so it was really fun, to do that. And while I knew, of course, that that there was a national level PRSSA, it's like I didn't fully, I guess, it didn't all fully click until I went to Icon. It's like, oh, there's all of these people, you get a chance to meet and And it was just such a fun event. Although afterwards, I was like, huh, it's like if it's like I know what I would do next time.
Yeah, sure. Um, it's like an insane amount of people. I don't really remember at the top of my head how many people we had at Icon, but I would say 1,000, perhaps. I don't really have the number, but it feels that's a strange thing, right? It's a lot of people, and the rooms are huge, and there's a lot of things going around, but everything feels so close because you know that you can talk to anyone in that room and they will understand your point of view and they have the same passion as you do. So basically, you go around and you greet someone from one chapter, then you greet a professional, and by the end of the conference, you know, I would say more than 100 new people that you haven't met before. You have a lot of new LinkedIn notifications. You start having chats with everyone. And yeah, it's basically inspiring to know what everyone else is doing. And you say, okay, where are you studying? What's your major? What's your minor? What company are you working for? And it also helps you find a bit more of what you want to do in this very, very big world of communications. Um, and yeah, it's a very useful experience, and it helps us grow as professionals as well.
Yeah, and before I shift gears a little bit, I did actually want to ask. So overall, what was your I guess your first impressions, I guess, for your two visits now, to the United States, since this is only your second time, leaving your country.
Yeah, I would say the kindness, and well, I will explain that first. I was told by American people that most of American people are rude towards like tourists, and I really didn't have that experience. I mean, I we had like the Hoover app to connect with our students before the conference, and we were all trying to get like to share the Lyft or Ubers to the hotels, and I was able to share with a student uh, on my way to the conference. Uh, I think, yeah, I think it was from he was from DePaul. I don't really remember, but I think so. And it was, I mean, he was very very nice. His flight was, I mean, the schedule changed, so he arrived a few minutes before me, and he just waited there. He when I met him, we got the Uber, we got to the hotel. The driver was very nice and said like, "Hey, what are you doing here for a conference? I recommend you to do this and this during the weekend." Uh, then, well, everyone at the hotel was super nice. I was able to meet Janine in person. Um, I was able to meet the national committee in person, and a lot of other students as well. And everyone is super nice, right? But then I said, okay, this is my community. When I went outside and we went to like cafeterias, we went to eat with some people I met. I became very, very close with some girls from Utah on the very first days of the conference, and we went out to like it was in Scottsdale, so there was a park called Old Town Scottsdale that was like everything southern and traditional, and like the waiters at the restaurants were nice, the people on the streets were nice. I didn't see anything that was, I mean, rude or anything towards anyone. And then when I got to visit New York after Icon, I was told like, okay, this city is very like noisy. People are rude. Everything is dirty, and I don't know. I can say I feel I can say I'm privileged that I didn't see any rats on the subway, because a lot of people say that they are. I didn't see any. And actually, I had we got like a bus and then the subway to our apartment from the airport, and I had my big suitcase. And when I was trying to get out of the stairs from the subway, like 3 or 4 people offered me their help to like move my suitcase around and everything. So I don't know. I had a very very grateful experience in the U.S. Meeting a lot of people. Then we made some friends that I went to New York with Milagros after Icon, and we met some friends of her there. And we went out for dinner. We had ice cream. I don't know. I feel everyone was very very nice. So the kindness is one aspect that I really like. Um, and then everything is bigger. I don't know how to explain that, but for example, like even the venti cup from Starbucks is bigger in America than it's here in Argentina. I know the streets are wider, the crosswalks are bigger. Everything is like uh, on a bigger scale. I don't know how to explain that. Or the sizes for the clothes. I don't know. I think that everything is more commercial also. I don't know, the meals and everything. Uh, Everything you can order to eat, the portions and the sizes are also bigger. So yeah, it's that was strange. Like I felt smaller in the U.S. than I am in Argentina.
Yeah, that's really so interesting. I mean, to know, but I mean, sounds like that both of you had a great trip to New York, though.
We really enjoyed it. Uh, we were like there for 5 days. So we went around Central Park. We explored Manhattan. We went to Soho, NoHo. Uh, we had the financial district. All of course, the Brooklyn Bridge, Manhattan Bridge. We had uh, what else did we do? We went like to the Empire State. We visited the High Line. We did like basically a lot of things for 5 days. Thankfully, Milagros is very organized, so we prepared like a schedule for every day before we arrived. So we had everything like a Google Maps like route for everything, and it was very nice. We visited a lot of things. We had very nice weather. It only rained for one afternoon. Um, but yeah, we had a very good time. It's a very nice city.
Well, yeah, like I said, I'm just so glad that that both of you enjoyed it, and both of you made it to New York before I did.
Really? Well, that's also another thing. It was I always wanted to be on the US for Christmas and for the holidays because it's a whole different spirit. I mean, in Argentina we also celebrate, but it's not that festive, I would say. So like people don't do all the like housing decorations. You don't have massive events on the streets, and I really wanted to spend the holiday season there. And I mean, I was not there for the actual holidays, but everything was getting ready. Like the trees were being put up, the lights. There were like some rings for ice skating that were starting to get ready. So it was like the prep. And I said to Malagos, okay, the next time we are in New York, we will be here for the holidays and we will be celebrating Christmas and New Year's here. Um, and thankfully, I mean, hopefully we will. Um, and yeah, it's a very nice city. That's something that also was in my bucket list, but for another part of my life, and I was able to complete way more in advance.
That is so amazing, and like I said, but shifting gears a little bit. So I know you said that that you work as well, and so what do you do for your work?
Yeah, so I work for Assurant, and I work here in Argentina, but we service the company's clients in the US with mortgages and insurance. So I currently work as a processing specialist and research analyst. So basically, I have to review correspondence from our clients and their clients and update the accounts and make sure that everything is okay and updated. Um, and I have a small team that does that here in Argentina, but it's very good. It's I've been with the company for uh, almost a year and a half now. Yeah, I was hired back in October 2022, so it's October, November, December, January, February. Yeah, like 1 year and 4 months with the company, and I really like it. Of course, we have our times, but uh, my coworkers are very great. My managers are excellent. So um, I like the company and I work for them, and I plan to continue doing so at least for a few more years.
Well, that is so great. At least that you're able to find something that I mean, find something that you enjoy and are able to to do stuff with, and so that's overall pretty fun. And so ultimately, outside of just your studies, and of course with Yeah, PRSSA as well. What do you what do you enjoy doing outside of all of that, and what do you do when you're not working, studying, or doing your national committee duties? You do a lot.
Um, I yeah, I do a lot. I have my pottery classes. That's like my sanctuary. That's a block in my schedule that I do not negotiate, and that is something that I really enjoy. Then I also love singing, so sometimes I sing at home. I never attended like lessons or anything, but I really like it, so I just do it. Um, and then I like to like read and then write down reflections that come to my mind. I know it's like very nerdy and it's kind of study related, but for me it's very personal. It helps me uh, I mean, of course, I'm very sociable and I talk and I can express myself with my words out loud. But when it comes to more personal things or reflections that I have in my mind, it's easier for me to write everything down because it helps me like organize all the information and kind of then like read it back a few days after and kind of see, okay, I was thinking about this, so how does it relate to another topic? Um, so that is also something that I have in my schedule like twice a week. Um, and yeah, I do that. I also try to connect with people from other cultures. Now I'm teaching English to a girl from Spain. So I also help her with that. I don't know. I really like to do a lot of things. Um, and it's, I don't know. So of course I feel tired sometimes, right? But it's difficult to explain because I get tired physically and mentally exhausted, but I don't get tired of it because it's what I like to do, right? It's a difficult feeling to explain because you get tired, but since it's something that you love doing, it's a different kind of tiredness.
Yeah, I definitely was that entirely get that, and yeah, it's one of the things like when you love what you do, it really does add some comfort to you, but that doesn't mean that you don't get exhausted sometimes, though.
Yes, I do get exhausted. I try to prevent burnout though, but there are times in the year that are very stressful. For example, last year we had like the quarterly reports at work. We were in finals season here, like trying to prepare everything for the finals, and we had icon. So it was the three parts of my world uh, colliding into a month, and it was very stressful. But uh, I think it's the people that get you out of it, right? Because when you are on your own, you start overthinking and saying, "I don't know how I'm going to do this." You start kind of questioning your decisions and don't, I mean, not knowing what to do. But then you chat with someone and they say, "Okay, let's take a breath. Let's grab a coffee. Let's talk about it." That helps a lot. So I think I try to ground a bit more with people than I used to do before to prevent this kind of burnout situations. Yeah.
Well, that definitely, like I said, definitely makes sense. And out of curiosity, in addition to all that you do you also do some volunteering as well?
I do. Yeah, I do. I know I'm not like participating as much as I would like. But there is an organization called Red Solidaria in Argentina. It is translated to International Solidarity Network, and basically what we do is work with people that are in hard situations, like economically and socially. So there was this semester that I was free on my Fridays. It was like my only day that I was free. Obviously, I was at that time I was working 9 to 5, and then when I finished work, there was nothing in my schedule, and I went to like there's like a park here in the city center that all the homeless people go to sleep, um, and we always went there on the Fridays to cook for them and share their meals. And of course, it's volunteer work that I love doing. And thanks to that, I connected with a lot of more professionals and people that like to help others and be change makers as well. And we developed more projects together. and now I'm not that connected with that part of my life as much as I would like, because I have a lot going on with PRSSA at work, school. Um, but it's something that I like. And before I started studying, I had like a bit more time for myself, and I was a volunteer for the Red Cross in Argentina. So I started volunteering when I was 15, I would say. Yeah.
That's all was really amazing. And first of all, thank you so much for all of the work that you do for your community.
Thank you. Yeah, as I said earlier today, right? It's like kind of giving back to our communities, everything that they do for us. And um, I don't know. I have like this philosophy of, if you're in need today and I can help you, I will do so, because one day I will be in need with something, and I'm confident that someone will come over and help me with that. And basically, it kind of happened with PRSSA, right? As we were talking before with the leadership assembly and everything, I wouldn't be able to attend if it weren't by the help of other people, and they helped me out of their hearts and their passion for our profession and our society. And that is why I started working harder towards giving back uh, all that kindness to the community, right? Uh, and it's not, I mean, I don't want to sound like a cliche, but it's not about like the money or the time or whatever, because of course I'm tired after a week of work, and I still go there and cook for the people and have a meal with them and chat. And you don't know, perhaps it's the only meal that they will have for a few days, or the only time they will be talking to another person for a few days, that will actually listen to them and respect their position. So uh, it's about touching each other's hearts and being uh, empathetic, and also that's what I call in my overall being change makers, right? So I think everything comes down to that, because once we grow older and we get sick or older, and we die, uh, money is not important. Our belongings are not important. Only the people that are around you is what you're going to keep. And that's why I think that we have to spread that kindness and that kind of sense of community with everyone that we can, and make everyone feel like they can trust you. Uh, be an active listener and say, I am here for you, right? Even if that means sitting down in the corner of your room in silence, and this is my cat. But yeah, I think it's about that, and not, I mean, not everything that we see on a daily basis in our hands or in our bank accounts, but it's more about how many contacts you have on your phone.
I truly think that's just so so powerful right there. And I've absolutely been enjoying this conversation. And Teo, thank you so much for for coming and speaking with us. I'm so glad to officially meet you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me. I really like this conversation. I'm a proud listener of Tansson Talks. So uh, thank you for making this project happen, for listening to other people, and creating this space in which everyone can discuss their thoughts. And yeah, thank you so much for having me again.
Yeah, of course. And and thank you. And and I very much appreciate that. Yeah, that you're a listener as well.
Yeah, I am. I started listening once. I believe you followed me on Instagram after an event or a post we did on the national social media accounts, and I say like, who is this guy? He does a lot of things. He's like me. So I started looking over your profile, your LinkedIn, everything, and I found the podcast, and I started listening. You had one with Oakley as well recently, and yeah, I really like uh, the fact that there are open conversations around a lot of topics and different experiences, and it's very enriching to listen to this.
I greatly appreciate that. And yeah, that's something I always want to do is, like I said, I'm on a mission to bring people together. And I just I really enjoy being able to have these conversations and just chat sometimes.
Yeah, of course. It's about that, right? It's about creating the safe spaces for people to communicate, to be open to perspectives that perhaps we don't share or we don't understand. But it's about being respectful and making people have the platform that we can give them as communication professionals and students and as people that have a little bit more of luck in this life. But yeah, it's about showing our platforms and bringing more perspectives to the table.
Absolutely. And Teo, if anyone online would like to to follow you online or whatever the case may be, where's the best places for them to find you?
I think Instagram. My Instagram is at Teo Landoni, so it's TOLANDONI, and I have my link tree like linked there. So there is my email, my LinkedIn. I believe my WhatsApp is also there. So if anyone wants to reach out to me, just feel free to do so.
Well, that's definitely good to know. And last but certainly not least, I did want to allow a moment for you to go ahead and close out our episode with whoever be a life lesson, inspirational thought, whatever the case may be. The floor is all yours, Teo.
Thank you. I think, as I was saying earlier, right, everything comes down to not the money on your bank account, not the things that you have at home, not the dreams that you pursue, but it's about how many people you know, how many contacts you have on your phone, and how many people will come if you need something, not because you're needing it, but because they care, and you also care about them. So, uh, I believe that as communications professionals, we have the responsibility and the privilege of having all the situation much more easier for us than perhaps for other people. So spread the kindness, open the conversation, chat with someone you don't know, be open about yourself, and basically just live your life kind of not waiting for anything, because I am the true living example that if it's meant to be, it's going to happen. So be open to it and just enjoy your life.
I absolutely love that. Like I said, thank you so much again for for coming on and for supporting. And like I said, this definitely means a lot, and I'm so glad I had a chance to to finally chat with you. Keep in touch.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you so much again for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it as well. For those tuning in, thank you so much, as always, for tuning into the Tansson Talks show. I always appreciate your support. Continue tuning in every week as we continue on our mission to bring people together. I'll see you next time. Take care.